Right now, beneath one American town, a fire has been burning since 1962. The ground cracks open. Toxic gas seeps through the pavement. 11 people refuse to leave. That town is number one on our countdown of 10 places so disturbing, they have slipped past every headline. From forbidden forests to drowned capitals, each entry gets darker. We start at number 10, a place the government did not just abandon, they erased it. In 10th place, Spectre, Alabama is a town so thoroughly erased, the only thing left is a sign that reads, Ghost Town. Founded in 1884 as a mining settlement, Spectre's fate was sealed by disaster after disaster. In 1899, a mine explosion killed several workers, sending shockwaves through the tiny community. Just when it seemed the town might recover, in 1925, a flood drowned nearly every building, leaving the population with nowhere to go but out. By 1978, the Tennessee Valley Authority, known as TVA, stepped in, not to save Spectre, but to finish the job. The TVA bought up what remained, razed every structure, and turned the land into a restricted wildlife zone. Today, census records list 0 residents. The only trace is a weathered interpretive sign at the perimeter, warning hikers that even the ghosts have moved on. Bureaucracy wiped Spectre off the map, but its absence lingers, a silent warning that some places are meant to be forgotten. And that's just the beginning. But wait, it gets worse. Number 9, Mentone, Alabama, where the only thing more unsettling than the silence is the way tragedy seems to hang in the mountain air. Established around 1850, this tiny hamlet in DeKalb County now claims 0 permanent residents according to the 2020 census. But don't let that fool you. The hills still fill with seasonal campers, and the locals who once called Mentone home have stories that linger longer than the fog. In 1918, the influenza pandemic tore through the town, wiping out entire families and leaving behind empty cabins and a graveyard with too many fresh markers. In 1973, a mine collapse sent a shock through what little community remained. The site is now fenced off, a rusted warning sign daring anyone to get too close. And if you're brave, or foolish, enough to stay after dark, you might catch a glimpse of the so-called canyon lights, blue-white lantern flickers drifting above the rim. As one old-timer put it, if you see the lights, don't follow. Not everyone comes back. Mentone isn't just empty. It's a place where sorrow and legend refuse to leave, even after everyone else has moved on. 8th place, Pelham Township, Pennsylvania, where the ordinary gets a little too strange for comfort. On the surface, it's just another stretch of York County farmland, home to nearly 6,000 people as of the 2020 census. But in 2005, a wildfire tore through Rocky Ridge County Park, scorching 150 acres and leaving a blackened scar that locals still talk about in hushed tones. Then there is the Haynes Shoe House, a 5-story boot built in 1948, looming over the landscape like a fairy tale gone wrong. Some say the shoe house is just a roadside attraction, but others swear it is a magnet for odd happenings, from unexplained lights to lost hikers. As one resident put it, Pelham's got more secrets than shoes in that house. Here, the unsettling does not hide in abandoned ruins. It creeps in plain sight, right past the welcome sign. Number 7, Fort Dodge, Louisiana, a place where the air feels thick and even the trees seem to whisper warnings. Settled in the early 1800s, this swamp village clings to the edge of the Atchafalaya River. Its 1,120 residents surrounded by 2.2 square miles of wetlands and a creeping sense of dread. In 1912, floodwaters swallowed the original schoolhouse whole, leaving nothing but mud and rumors in their wake. But it is the legend of the cursed oak that keeps locals up at night. According to the Daily Advertiser archives, the town's historic church burned to the ground in 1975, and the blame landed squarely on that twisted old tree, a gnarled giant said to bring disaster to anyone who disturbs it. Some say the oak's shadow stretches farther every year, and more than one resident has warned, if you hear crackling at night, don't look outside. In Fordosh, disaster and myth tangle together, each feeding off the other, until the whole place feels like it is just waiting for the next bad thing to happen. Number 6. Old Cahaba, Alabama, where the ruins of a drowned capital still whisper through tangled river-bottom woods. Chartered in 1820 as Alabama's very first state capital, Cahaba was supposed to be a monument to ambition and progress. Instead, it became a lesson in hubris. On February 3, 1865, the Cahaba River rose up and swallowed the town whole. Floodwaters surged through the streets, forcing every last resident to flee for higher ground. By the end of that year, the population had dropped from nearly 2,000 to 0. Today, not a single soul lives within its half-square-mile footprint. What's left is a skeletal grid of streets, crumbling brick, and a cemetery where visitors claim to hear the echo of bells from a vanished courthouse. The Alabama Historical Commission keeps the site as an archaeological park, but even in daylight, the place feels like it is holding its breath, caught between grandeur and oblivion. And if you think a capital city cannot just vanish, Cahaba is proof. All it takes is a little water and a lot of bad luck. That's not even the creepiest part. Number 5. Oatman, Arizona, a place where the ghosts aren't just legends, they're part of the daily routine. Founded in 1902 and still clinging to life with about 1,014 residents, Oatman sits stranded along the old Route 66, equal parts tourist trap and living ghost town. Main Street is a stage where gunfights break out every afternoon, but the real stars are the wild burros, descendants of miners' pack animals who wander through town like they own the place. But there is nothing cute about Oatman's past. In 1921, a fire ripped through the wooden buildings, turning the boomtown into a smoldering ruin overnight. Some say you can still smell the ash on windy days. The Oatman Gazette once reported that the only thing faster than the fire was the exodus of miners chasing the next gold strike. Now, the town makes its living off the eerie blend of history and spectacle, where you can buy a souvenir and maybe catch a glimpse of something that shouldn't be there. As one shopkeeper puts it, in Oatman, the burros aren't the only things that haunt you after dark. Number 4. Whittier, Alaska, a place where the walls really do close in. Here, the entire town squeezes into a single 13-story concrete block called Begich Towers. As of 2020, just 212 people live here, most of them never straying far from the fluorescent-lit hallways that double as streets, schools, and even the post office. Outside, the wind howls off Prince William Sound, and the only road in or out is a tunnel blasted through solid mountain. It is closed at night, and a toll is required. Whittier was founded in 1900, but its fate was sealed by the Good Friday earthquake of 1964, when a landslide nearly wiped it off the map. The town officially incorporated in 1970, perhaps just to prove it could survive. Locals joke that you can go weeks without stepping outside, but the laughter fades when the storms roll in and the sea fog presses against the glass. As one resident put it, when the weather locks you in, you start to wonder if you will ever get out. Isolation is not just a feeling here, it is a way of life, and sometimes it is the most disturbing thing of all. Coming to the top 3, Dudleytown, Connecticut stands as a place you are not even allowed to fear up close. Founded in the 1740s and abandoned for over a century, this 0.8 square mile patch of forest has 0 residents, 0 public roads, and a reputation so toxic that the landowners have posted every tree with no trespassing signs. It is not just a warning, it is a legal barricade. The Hartford Courant once traced the legend back to an 1826 murder, though court records never confirmed it. In 1908, a wildfire swept through, yet the Connecticut State Fire Marshal report lists no homes lost, only scorched underbrush. Still, the story grew. Whispers of a family curse, madness in the woods, and a string of disappearances no one could ever quite prove. By 1971, local police had enough, raiding the site and arresting 4 would-be ghost hunters, as reported in the New Haven Register. Since then, the forest has been locked down tighter than a state secret. Locals say that if you step off the trail, the woods might not let you back out. Dudleytown is not just haunted by stories. It is protected by law, making its mysteries some of the most tightly guarded in New England. But wait, it gets worse. Number 2. Point Pleasant, West Virginia. A town where legend and tragedy are locked in a dance that never ends. In November 1966, police files recorded the first sighting: 2 couples, a lonely stretch of Route 62, and a large, winged creature with glowing red eyes. The Mothman, as it was quickly dubbed, set off a wave of panic and late-night stakeouts. But the real horror struck on December 15, 1967, when the Silver Bridge buckled during rush hour, plunging cars into the icy Ohio River and killing 46 people in minutes. The National Transportation Safety Board blamed a single cracked eyebar, but locals whispered that the creature had been a warning or a curse. Today, 4,734 people call Point Pleasant home, but its reputation is anything but ordinary. The annual Mothman Festival draws thousands, with the museum's director admitting that they can't explain what happened, but they can't ignore it either. In Point Pleasant, folklore and fact are inseparable, and every shadow on the riverbank feels like the start of another story. And finally, in first place, Centralia, Pennsylvania, where the ground itself feels alive and hungry. On May 27, 1962, a coal seam fire sparked beneath the town cemetery. At first, it was just smoke curling up from a trash pit. But as the weeks dragged on, the fire kept spreading, burrowing deeper and wider until it became a slow-motion apocalypse. By the 1980s, the government had seen enough. Evacuation orders went out, buyouts emptied nearly every house, and entire blocks vanished under bulldozers. Today, only 11 residents remain, down from a bustling 2,700 at its peak. State Route 61 is barricaded, warped, and split by the heat below. The Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection posts warning signs about carbon monoxide and sudden sinkholes, but the most chilling part is the silence. Whole neighborhoods erased, the air heavy with the smell of sulfur, the earth occasionally cracking open to belch out toxic steam. Centralia is not just a ghost town, it is a living hazard, condemned as a federal Superfund site since 1992, with no hope of rescue. A former resident told the Scranton Times-Tribune that if you step off the road, you might never come back. In Centralia, the line between disaster and legend has burned away, leaving nothing but smoldering dread. Across all 10 towns, one thing becomes clear. Isolation breeds its own breed of darkness. Whether the terror is man-made Whispered in folklore or simply the echo of abandoned streets, America's forgotten places remind us sometimes the scariest legends are just the facts. Sleep tight. Drop your creepiest hometown story below.